And I think we're all good now. And yeah, we're good. We're back to live. Okay, welcome in. Today we are full production mode. And right now I'm just going to trim out these flowers we did last night on live stream. So we're just going to trim these up. I'll show them to you as we go through. Pull these little bits off here. So this is rose number 1 that we did last night. So this is the process of gold fuming. So that is number 1. We're going to park it right here. We're going to grab the silver fumed version, trim that off. Basically, we're just cleaning up the bottom end here. And move this guy out of the way temporarily. So there is number 2. What's up, Dragonfly? How are you? Yeah, this is the silver fume with a little tiny bit of gold on it. I'm going to park that over here for the moment. And this one was absolutely outstanding. This is the gold fume and cobalt that we accomplished. Probably my favorite of the colors that we did last night. Susan, thank you. What's up, Leslie? Ooh. Got a little L shape there. Okay, just pull a little bit more. There we are. Make sure we're within parameter. We are. Yeah, I think this one's my favorite color combo from last night. It just has this really beautiful organic look to it. We'll probably show that one again. Set this guy off to the side at the moment. Then this is the silver fume version that we did. So that one has a little bit different look to it. I think it looks good too. What's up, Koi? How are you? What's up, Red Squeak? How you doing? Car, I'm doing absolutely fantastic. Got a hard day today, though. We are pushing 2 3-inch marbles today. Early production. And then I have to make some pens, hummingbirds, and a marble. Got a few TikTok orders that buzzed in from the TikTok shop. All right, so now we have the really cool looking silver fume version. Park that off. Ouch, damn it. That's what I was afraid of right there. Touching it for a second. Gets hot. Yeah, that didn't burn, thank God, but yeah, it stings. That's the problem with doing it that way. All right, we got to definitely move this or I'm going to melt the hell out of it. All right, so we are working the giant marbles today. Not looking forward to it. Definitely not looking forward to this. This is the last of the kind of 3-inch version that I'm going to be doing. No longer going to be pushing 3-inch marbles, really. It's just too much. All right, so we got a little crack on this piece. And rather than try and smooth all that out, I always tell people just get rid of it, start fresh. Don't leave yourself vulnerable to having the piece fall off and break. Yeah, we're definitely doing big orbs. This is the last of kind of the 3-inch versions of these styles. I might do 3-inch different styles, like the opal looks really cool. But this one in particular that we're going to be doing, I'm definitely discontinuing. Too much strain on my body. It just gets to be too heavy. Especially when you're doing multiples. Okay, so we're going to trim this off. Nice and clean. And this will get ready for the, this will be my punty rod for the 3-inch. Right there. We're going to set that off to the side. Someplace where I know I can get to it. And last one, we're going to attach a little holding rod onto this so I can use it later. And then we're starting off. Yeah, it just gets to be too heavy. I mean, holding it out here for that long, an hour at a time, it's like even holding your arms up straight out in this direction for an hour gets to be tiring. Imagine having like the weight of like a can of soup out there. Doesn't feel like much, but after an hour it is. All right, so we're going to bring this down. Had to go through and change my propane tank out too. When I'm doing 3-inch marbles, I definitely run a fresh set of tanks. Last thing you want to do is run out of gas halfway through a marble of that size. Definitely don't want to get stuck. All right, so we're just putting this on. I'll pop this in the kiln, let it temper, and we'll get started. Okay, not bendable anymore. We're good. On that in the kiln, I'm going to pull all my fuming rods out from last night. We're going to let these guys cool off somewhere. Way up here. I don't need any of that. Okay, let's get started. We're going to be working 3-inch size orbs. They are gigantic in size. Doesn't sound like a lot, but they are big. They definitely put the strain on your shoulders. And we'll be using this marble mold for it because that's what it needs. All right, so we're going to trim this off and we'll start the process. So the first thing is I got to build a big mass, a gather up of clear glass so we can add the color to it afterwards. Then we'll take some time and shape it and form it. Get it into its spiral style. And from there, we're good to go. Did I grab the wrong one? All right, I'm going to trim one more just because I think I might need it, and then we'll go. So what I'm doing right now, on the end, when I cut these rods, they leave little scars, like scratches. And that's at the very end. If I leave it on there and I try and melt it in, you get all these tiny little air bubbles, like small micro air bubbles. And it doesn't really show up that bad or even hardly at all. But I kind of know they're there and it bugs the hell out of me to leave it in there. So it doesn't take but a minute to just kind of pull this off and just start clean, not have any little air bubbles in there. I mean, they're microscopic, but I just know they're there. All right, we are good to go. Let's get this thing started. Here we are. Debating on whether I should use the shield today. I cracked my last one. I don't think I have it ready to go. No, I don't have the shield. I don't want to crack that titanium. All right, we're just going to go without it. All right, so this rod is all prepped in the kiln, a little warm. We're going to trim it off as well and start the gather. So this rod is actually preheated up to 1100 degrees, so it's going to go a little smoother. Thank goodness. Gather it here, and let's go. What's up? Happy Monday to you as well. And here we go. Going to attach and just start fusing it all together. Susan, thank you to leveling up to a spark. Awesome, Susan. Thank you for becoming a member on there. Susan just leveled up to the spark status as a member on YouTube. Oh my goodness. Coop's Granny, thank you for the Joker Ball on TikTok. All right, here we go. So we're going to start pushing together this gather. And we'll get it pretty close to that 3-inch mark. Then we can add the colors to it, which will push it over that 3-inch mark. So whenever I say 3-inch marble or globe, it has to be a minimum of 3 inches. Okay, it's not meaning right up to that point. I try to get it exact, but it has to be 3 or more. Okay, so we're just pushing this gather together. This will make a nice punty at the end here too. So you can see we're building up a gather down here. I'm going to bring it down every once in a while. I'll show you where we're at. This is actually going a lot faster than I thought. Maybe I should preheat these ahead of time more often. This is definitely flowing way faster. Okay, here we go. We're going to keep adding in. So you can see the size we're building up down there. We're just continuously building gather. Good morning, everybody. How are you? Had a fantastic stream last night. We had a really good stream last night. Thank you, Glassblowing Tommy. Yep, the Boroglow is pretty incredible. It is very, very stable. Okay, let's push this in. All right, so we're just building up the bulk here. This definitely does take a minute. This is where I wish we had the same consistency as soft glass, because you could gather so much so quickly. But with borosilicate, not so lucky. Just hope I don't melt the light above me. It's starting to melt up there. I got a ceiling mounted flush mount lighting system up there, and it's got a plastic cover, and I think I'm warping the plastic up there. May have to replace it. Okay, we're just pushing in. We're going to get it all the way to the end here. We're still going to have to add some on here, but we'll get there. All right. Definitely missed my shield. I'm just going to have to cut another piece off there for it. All right, there we go. We're getting there. Okay, we're going to taper this down a little bit as I get towards the end of this one. I don't want to warp into this rod right here too much. Right there. So we got a little bit to go still. We're not quite there. This would give me about a 2.5 inch marble. Not quite the 3 that I need. So we're going to let it drip for a second. Stabilize down here, and then we'll push this end in a little. Okay. Kick it on. And let's start pushing it. And here we go. Yeah, the purple looks really awesome, actually. Actually, I'm having a bad hair day. My hair's a little off today. The hair is a little off today. So we just got a little bit more to push in for a gather of clear, and then we'll be good to go. We'll start adding all the color. So this one is going to be in browns and greens. The green color is always your scary color because it does not like to be completely encased in clear. So you got to be careful how much green you put in there and what green you put in. Because certain greens do not like blending with this much glass. They are a little funky to work with. I'm just trying to gauge my size here. Looking at my 3-inch mark down here, a little bit more to go. Got about another inch or so of this thickness, and then I should be good. So it's approximately 2 inches in diameter for the size of this rod that we're working now, or building it up to. And it needs to be about 4 inches in length, 4 to 4.5. And that way when it compresses, it will go into a 3-inch size marble. So my rule of thumb is if I want a 3-inch marble, have a 2-inch diameter thickness of the rod itself, and you want to go a little bit past double the width here. So about 4 to 4.5 inches should give me enough that when it compresses down into a ball, it will widen out to 3 inches in width all the way around, compressing from that 4-inch length. Now if I want to be super safe, we'll keep it close to the 4.5-inch mark. There we are. We're getting really close now. Looks like a giant 2-inch long pill, or 2-inch diameter pill. All right, a little bit more, and I think we're good. I think we'll be good from here. Just got to even it out now. Yeah, we're good. So we're going to start tapering it off. By the time I add the color, it's going to increase the diameter of this to about 2.5 inches or so. It's definitely going to increase it by a lot. So that's the mass that we're starting with. Doesn't look like a lot, but it really truly is. I'm going to prep this thing in here. We're going to try prepping it again. So anyway, that is the starting basis, basically the blank. Oops. We're going to bring it down. Kind of get rid of this little bump up here. I want to get rid of that. And then we'll start applying all the color. And here we go. So this is a pretty slow process. It will take me a very long time to go from start to finish on this marble. So there we are. Again, that's about 2 inches in diameter. Let's measure the length. A lot of people ask me about this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, it's 5 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is about 2 by 5 in diameter. Diameter 2, 5. Long. Let me make sure we're at the 2. Yeah, 2 inches. So let's start with the brown, and we'll go from there. So this brownish color that we're going to be applying, I love doing what I call a wood grain effect. So we're going to try and make it look like a wood grain. L to the B! Thank you so much for the Joker ball. How are you doing? Good to see you. All right, so we're going to start applying this down. Yeah, we're going to go for the wood grain look. Kind of has a darker brown hue to it. And then we start incorporating a little light caramely color and blend it in. And it creates this kind of simulated wood grain effect. Thank you so much for the Joker balls. I appreciate it. Those are kind of cool, actually. I like those. Yeah, that gift is actually pretty funny. Thank you for those, by the way. All right, here we go. So right now I'm just striping down. And the reason I like the wood grain effect too is when we start striping the colors down like this, it creates this, it does create an effect I don't like, which is this very defined lines in between there, because the color kind of separates a little bit each time you put it on. So it's got a different thickness, and it creates this just these little lines running down. And I really don't want that. I want it to look more like a solid color. So creating the wood grain effect just kind of eliminates the problems in there. And it's a pretty combo. I'm just going to keep bringing it down. I'm going to add one more brown line on here, and then we'll add the caramely color, I think. And start blending it. There we are. All right, we should have enough on there now. So we got all the brown running through. See how on the other side, see all those lines running through there? Now you can see these like streaks. I don't like that. You know, it just is something that doesn't appeal to me at all. So we're going to take this caramel, we're going to stripe it down. In two lines, two separate lines here. And then we will mix and blend. Right about there. Just going to bring it down. I think, wondering if I should go really heavy. Yeah, we're going to go a little heavier on this. I'm actually going to go super intense on this. Just kind of making the call. All right, we're good. So there we are. We got all the caramel color running through there. We got the dark brown. And we're going to start attempting to do that wood grain effect on it. I'll try and show you via light source right now, a separate light source. You can see that caramel color, and then we got the dark brown. So we're going to blend all these and create this simulated wood effect. Now see on the back end that I was talking about? I just don't like that. It looks awful. I do not like that. All right, we're going to take some clear because I don't want to mess with the colors too much. We're going to start spinning and spiraling this whole thing around. This is the technique I always refer to as finger painting because it is just like that. So you just come through and you start mixing everything up with just random swirls. Now these swirls don't matter too much, because as you start spinning this marble into its round form, they also change direction as you're starting to form it. So right now I have just kind of these basic blends going down. But as I start spinning it up, they also elongate sideways and extend, and they change inherently from what I'm doing here. So it doesn't really matter technically what they look like right at the moment. Okay, I'm going to bring it over here. I just want to blend all this in a little. A little bit more. And it should create this simulated wood grain effect. I'm going to show you partial where we're at. Like that. So you can definitely see where I blended versus the straight lines running down. So that is the blending. And like I said, when it gets done kind of mellowing out in there, it will definitely show the blended. Oh, there it is. I lost my rod for a second. Better to lose my rod than the marbles, right? Okay, here we go. We're going to start blending some more. And this technique, like I said, I refer to it as finger painting. It is just like that. It's very organic. And to be honest, this is one of the most fun things you could do when adding color, right here. So if you ever do a glass experience with me, this is definitely one of the things you will be doing for sure. Okay, we just got to blend one more section here and we should be good. Then we're going to add the white and then green. So the green I'm going to do the same way to match up with the brown. We're going to kind of make the green blend the exact same way so it doesn't look too awful, like different. I want to try and keep the aesthetics exactly the same. We'll also do it on the white. We'll kind of blend that in as well. So we have a kind of thick and thin pattern to it. And that way this whole marble will have that very unique look to it. All right, so there we are. We got the wood grain blended all the way through. Let's see if I can bring in the flashlight one more time, and you definitely see how it's starting to pattern out right there. Went from that dark brown to that, and then from the back side, you definitely see those patterns coming through. But yeah, that is the wood grain effect right there. Then we got to add white. This will be the next color that goes on. Going to do the same thing to it after we're done, and then green. And then we will form this whole thing out into a marble. But as I was saying before, this does take a while, so if you're looking for a quick project, this is not it. This is very time consuming. I probably should have planned this better. Trying to use up all these shorter rods that I have in my inventory right now. In fact, we're going to add an extension here. Got a whole bunch of these short rods, white rods from Christmas when we were making peppermint swirls and all that, and they definitely got to get used up. So we're just going to keep adding this in. And we're just going to keep coming down and striping it down, and then we will blend this the same way. I don't necessarily need them one on top of another since we are blending. This part is the time-consuming part right here. But it is a definite necessity, part of the process. Ooh, that's getting warm. Getting a little bit warm there. Okay, a little bit more in here. A little bit right here. Okay, we should be good. So now we got all these stripes running down. See how they're just kind of not looking perfect in there? So now we'll take a clear rod and again go back over it, do that finger painting technique and get it to really blend in. And we're going to blend a little bit into the wood grain as well. So they should be kind of fused together. You shouldn't see a clean line. It should be kind of blended as we go through. But that one I want to keep kind of tight next to each other. So we're just going to come through here, do a small blend. I don't want a definitive line for that. This should look very, very blended. So a little bit of brown running into the white. Organic look. Like that. Now we'll start doing all the white by itself. Ooh, it's getting hot. I miss my shield. I'm going to have to cut another piece of Boro flat glass to make my shield. So I make the shields that I use for my torch. I actually cut the glass myself. Oop, we just cracked the hell out of that. Okay, let's blend that in there before it falls off. So the holding rod itself kind of cracked. That's okay. It's not unusual. Oh, there it goes big time. Oh, don't fall. Don't you fall. There's a gigantic crack in there. And it's just the holding rod. It's not a big deal. It's only a big deal if it falls. So it cracked right in that section. And it definitely wants to weeble wobble right now because of the weight. Okay. So I'll show you what happens in the blending. So you can see those lines right there are not blended, and these are blended. You can see it just kind of morphs everything in and makes it look 10 times better. Man, this is still moving. Crap. It's all right, I'll fix it. But I like everything blended. This should look like clouds. So the white should look like fluffy clouds buzzing all over the place. Just come through. I wish I was like 10 years younger again. I'd definitely be able to push these a lot harder. But I'm just at an age where I can't do this anymore, this size. Just gets to be too much. I can do a few, but I can't do this in full production. Too freaking heavy. All right, there we go. We got it all blended. No, we don't do any of that. No bongs, no dongs. Diane, there might be a couple mods here and there. If something gets out of hand on YouTube, let me know. Red Squeak's on TikTok right now, so she can buzz over and handle anything if needed. They don't want to mess with the squeak. They do not want to mess with the squeak. Trust me. All right, there we are. We just got to let it settle a little bit. I'm going to try and blend this out in there. I will let you know, creative. I have a limited number of mods I can put on. Got you, Red Squeak. Thank you. You don't want to over moderate your streams. That's the problem that you can run into. You don't want to over moderate it. You know, if someone makes a comment that they don't know anything about, like if they mention bongs or dongs and they just don't know, they get a warning. And then after that, then they get hit with it. But if they don't know, they don't know, and that's okay. You know, if people don't know what the criteria is, you know, but if they attack children or mention anything about, you know, something nefarious, yeah, we'll strike down like there's no tomorrow. All right, we're going to separate this, and then we're going to do the greens. All right, so if you're new to glass blowing or you don't know about borosilicate glass, green is the one color I hate working in deep encased glass. What I mean by encased, I mean it has a lot of clear infused with it. Because greens are not notoriously happy about being encased in clear. It has something to do with the chromium that is in the color to make green. And what ends up happening is they end up cracking your glass if it gets to be too much. Now they've reformulated this over the years and gotten a lot better, but it doesn't mean you're completely out of the woods. The other thing I really dislike about green is it's a very stiff color. It does not flow super easy. In fact, it's really tough. Okay, here we go. You ever had a complete deja vu moment? I'm having that right now. This feels like a total deja vu. I've definitely been, I've said that before in this position. Feels weird. Okay, here we go. A little bit more. And then we'll blend everything in. debating on doing a separate like colored green on here. Kind of give a whimsical greeny look. I think I brought out 2 different greens. I did bring out the shimmer. We'll do a light coating of this. Just a light coating. There we are. Just a little hint. Okay, we got to grab some blending material again. And you are right there. We're going to blend all these lines up. So we got those greens just kind of running up and down. We're going to blend everything together right now. And hopefully we have this all completed. We'll spin it up into a marble. And make it look amazing. All right, so we're going to blend into that white section right in there as well. We're just kind of blending everything together. Okay. I'm trying to time this too to see how long this is taking me. So far we are 47 minutes into this, and I haven't even begun shaping it into the marble. What's up, Purple Eagle? So yeah, we're 47 minutes in just to get the base built up and the color being applied. And now we're blending into the browns, that wood grain. Here we are. We got one more little section here, and we will be good to go. We'll start forming this guy up. But this is the daily life of a glassblower or lamp worker. This is technically called lamp working. This is exactly what it involves. A lot of people misinterpret that I get to make whatever I want whenever I want. Not the case. Yeah, we did the roses. This is the best looking rose from last night, in my opinion. I haven't done this coloring in a while, but we have that kind of orangey iridized. Oh, no, I can't set it there. Let me set it here before we even begin, and then I have to pull it off because it won't sit there. But check out this color. So it has this like purpley hue, beautiful coloring to it. It's by far an amazing color. Try and get it. You can definitely see that it's just beautiful. Park that guy back over there, out of the way. Okay. Did I finish a ball with uranium? I've done tons of them, yeah. All right, so we now have all the colors blended in here, and we're gonna turn it to the 3-inch marble. So before I begin that, we're going to take this little front area up here and we're going to spin it into a little bit of a little bit of a spiral. This gives me my basis for making the marble, because right now everything's discombobulated up there. Just doesn't look good. So we're going to pull all the color to a taper. What's up, Daisy Girl? Yeah, we have tons of uranium marbles. It just depends on which marble you're referring to. But we did these roses. These are the Valentine's roses that we're doing coming up, and you have very short time to get it done. If you want to have a Valentine's rose made, I am happy to make it for you. We can make it on live stream, meaning I can make it right here on the channel. And if you happen to have it on YouTube, it's permanent on there. So it's archived. You get a time and date. So if you want to order a flower, have to message me and we'll schedule a time and date to make that flower. It'll be a set time and date. And then you can archive that in your YouTube channel or your programming, share it with yourself, whatever you need to do. Sorry, I got to blend this. And then you can show your significant other, spouse, whatever, the video of the actual flower you had made for them. So basically how it works is, let's say Red Squeak wanted me to make a flower for her partner. I would say this is for Wood Tiger, and this is made specifically for Wood Tiger. And I would mention their name, and then make the flower, and that is theirs. And it's made on live. Yeah, it's a cool little concept. Yeah, we've definitely done glass animals. All right, here comes the hard part. So I got to take all this and turn it to a ball. This is not the fun part. Yeah, this part is not so much fun. We're going to taper it down a little. So in order to make this a ball, we definitely have to have a little punty rod here. Attach it. Blend it in there. Okay. So the main thing I'm going to be heating is the middle section, this section here. And then we're going to push it together, and then we'll start working the two sides to get it rounded out into the ball itself. I just got to let that settle up for a second because it's still very, very bendy. All right, here we go. So we're going to take this and we're going to start forming it up. Y'all ready? Let's do it. Let's get it. That's going to be my catchphrase, I think. That short video of me saying let's get it did really well. So maybe I should use that as my catchphrase. Let's get it. All right, here we go. So I'm thinking of starting, there's a app out there called Skool, S-K-O-O-L, I believe. And I'm looking into it, and I might start a how to get started in glassblowing, lamp working course. And actually adding sessions in there of once you get started, what to do, projects to make. And it seems like it's designed around instructional. Debating on doing that. Because you don't have to have this big a setup. One of the fun things you can do that is relatively inexpensive. So for this type of glass blowing, you're going to need $2,500 to $3,000 to get started, minimum. If you want to make beads, so you start off with like glass beads, and I mean really cool ones, not ugly little rondelle beads. You can start that for under $1,000. And the oxygen consumption on that is far less. Now, I'm not super fantastic at soft glass yet, but I can definitely hold my own on it. But we could do it out of Boro. But soft glass is definitely much cheaper to get involved with. Soft glass meaning a bullseye, Moretti, Murano style glass. Venetian, Murano. That's a soft glass. Okay, you can see the point which I'm heating. I'm heating just the middle section here. Yeah, soft glass is definitely not as expensive to get into. You're limited on what you can and can't do with it, though. But I can tell you the palette, the color palette for soft glass destroys borosilicate. I mean, borosilicate has some really pretty colors like what I'm working. But soft glass, Venetian, you have a lot more color. I would say the color palette is at least 10 times bigger and less expensive. All right, so you can see we're pushing this together. And if borosilicate keeps climbing in price, I may have to start adjusting some of my content and some of my work to soft glass. I might just have to, I might be forced into that arena. I'm not scared of it. I just, I love working Boro. Boro meaning borosilicate. All right, so we're pushing this down. But the costs are definitely jumping up there. And it's not going to end there. North Star Glass just upped their pricing, meaning the largest manufacturer of colored glass for borosilicate just raised their prices. And everybody's like, well, I'll just buy other companies. If you don't think that other companies are now going to raise their prices, or distributors are going to raise their prices for other color, you're crazy. Every single color in borosilicate is about to go up in price. Every one of them, including the colors that come out of China. Even though they didn't pay more, they're going to raise the price. Because the gap between Chinese color and North Star color is going to be so great, they're going to close that gap up a little. And they're going to close it by raising the price, making more of a profit. Mark my words. Not my first rodeo down that path. Happened with clear in 2003. In 2003, there was a shortage of clear borosilicate glass. One of the major manufacturers for this type of glass went out of business, Kimball Contis. And it created a shortage of clear glass tubing and rods to buy. And people were in panic. And everything got raised. All the prices. And they've never come down. All right, here we go. We're spinning this up. But I've been down that path before and I know how to avert it. So like Dragonfly and Grows and any of the other members or subscribers on TikTok that are glass blowers that are curious about how to avert it, I got you. I got your back. All right, we got this beautiful spiral going on right now. Woo, she's looking good. Now we got all those colors spun up. Kind of looks like a funky gnome at the moment. Almost has that gnome head shape. Gnome hat. Kind of crazy. All right, let's taper this down. Going to bring it off here. Bring it down and taper. Back at it. Yeah, so what happens on that is the microphone gets hot from the heat and it drains the battery hella fast. You should have audio now. Should be back. Gustavo, what's happening? Yeah, so what happens is the heat kills the battery. And that's why I missed my shield. It's killing the battery. I may have to go to my separate microphone over here that isn't battery powered. It's an expensive microphone, but it just doesn't sound as good. In fact, let's test it before I go too far with it. I'm going to get you guys' opinion on the microphone. Here we go. We're going to change it. So this is my wireless microphone on my lapel. We're going to change it to here. Okay, so this is the other microphone that I have. And this one is a stationary microphone. And the stationary is just as good, but it better be. It's like $400 for this microphone. It was not a cheap one. Still good. All right, I'm going to run back to the lapel one though. We're going to change it back. Okay, bring it back. There we go. So we're back on the lapel mic. Interestingly enough, this microphone that I'm wearing is like $100 for the wireless. Includes 2 little microphones, the receiver, everything. Super cheap. For what you get. I gotta put this little guy in its charging case. I think I killed this one, to be honest. I think I killed that one microphone a while ago. How's the flame turn white? It's actually not white. It's technically very, very blue. The camera has a very difficult time picking it up. I'll show you what I mean by it in just a second. I got to get this thing kind of rounded out. Man, I hope I hit the 3-inch mark. Yeah, we're there. I was a little worried I hadn't got quite to 3 inches. I would have had to redo the whole thing. But we're there. All right, I'll show you what the flame actually looks like. Actually, up in the upper right-hand corner, there should be a flame that has more of a blue look to it. But there you can definitely see the blue while we're working it. So that is technically what the color really looks like that. Now, I can't hold that out here too long because it's hot as hell. All right, here we go. So we're going to start blending it all in. I think I'm going to cut another piece of plate glass, borrow plate glass for a shield before I do the next one. I have a second one of these I have to do. That's just super hot. So the one in the upper right hand corner, the little window up there, that has a shield on it, so you can notice that the flame is a little bit different color wise. Red Squeak, thank you for the super chat. What do I think about water-cooled torches? Don't need it. This torch I'm using right now is not hot. So this torch is a glass torch technologies. I think water cooling, you're adding in an extra mechanical device to it that you don't need. Unless you're running a Bedlam PM2D. Now that is one torch that definitely requires water. All right, here we go. So I'm not pushing into this at all. We're just letting the weight of the glass kind of make the marble. Yeah, there's only one torch on there that I recommend water cooling, and that is the Bedlam Bedlam PM2D. You can actually make your own water cooling system with copper tubing, wrap it around your torch base, and then you get I think it's a fish pump for like a fish tank. You get a fish pump in there, and you can create your own water loop, and you got to have a bucket down there with water, obviously. But in all honesty, you're adding another mechanical thing to your equipment that has a potential for failure. And I don't like that. I like to keep things as minimal as possible. Anytime you start introducing things that can fail, you just run into issues. Because guess what? They fail. All right, we got this really cool looking little spiral at the end there. Look at that. See, I told you it looked beautiful. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I like making the ghost dog. I think it's kind of cool. The ghost dog. I have one in uranium and one in purple. Uranium collar with uranium nose and one with a purple collar and purple nose still available. Surprised they're still here. All right, last little bit here for this side, and then we're going to punty it up and finish this end that I'm currently holding a rod to up. Yeah, we definitely got some beautiful spirals going on in here. Always reminds me of like Nightmare Before Christmas. Kind of has that Nightmare Before Christmas spiral on there. I love it. I think it looks cool. All right, we're going to take this and punty it up. I don't like that color on there. Before I do that, I want to pull this off. Nope, can't talk. There we are. And there we go. We got that little bit of attachment right there. We're going to finish this up on this other end and get it roundish. Roundish. Roundish works. And that would be my dog Fritz. That's the Fritzster. Fritz. All right, so we're getting this all finished up here. We're going to bring him down. Raul, you're paying $7,000 to the first 5 people? Well, unless you can, like, send over a galaxy over here, I don't believe you. I don't know why people keep doing this. Stop. If they don't stop spam calling me, I'm going to answer, and you guys are going to get my typical response to spammers. I steal that line from the State Farm commercial with Jake. I always ask them what they're wearing. When I get a spam caller and I know it's spam, I always ask, so what are you wearing? And then they hang up. I actually had a spammer once say, that's really inappropriate. Would you like to buy car insurance? No. Yeah, if you want to get rid of a spammer and get off their call list, just ask them what they're wearing. Steal the State Farm commercial phrase. Just look and say, what are you wearing? And they will get off the phone as soon as you can possibly imagine. Yeah, you could, yeah, definitely ice cream works too. All right, here we go. So we just have to get this all rounded out and get it into the 3-inch marble size. And it should be awesome when it's all done. Now we just have to wait for it to heat up. Get it back down to the molten core there. Bring it in and just kind of let the weight of the glass start shaping it. Notice I can 2-finger this. You don't really have to push into it. Just the weight by itself will start forming this guy up. I can't tell you how many times I see people trying to muscle this glass around, and you shouldn't have to. You should just be able to do it that way. No, I don't do any rings. No rings, unfortunately. None whatsoever. I just don't like the opportunity that they have to be able to fail and break. So just getting it into shape here. So far we are 1 hour and 15 minutes into this guy. Just got to get it completely smoothed out now. This is where it takes a little bit of time. It's the fine tuning to actually making this super round and trying to eliminate any big gaps in there, any canyons, any places where it doesn't feel smooth. So that's what I am focusing on right now. We're just trying to get rid of all those little sections where it's not right. We're actually getting pretty close. Shouldn't be too much longer now. Everything is looking pretty good. Pretty fantastic. We're going to have to definitely punty on this side one more time and get this section a little more rounded out. It's kind of got that egg shape going on. But we'll get that eliminated here just by switching the holding rods to this side. And it should be good after that. We should be able to detach and call it done. Yeah, we are definitely there. Just looking for any major flaws on this side before we switch it. I don't see anything, and so we're going to switch it over and finish this up. It should be done after this. Right there. So we're just going to refine this side just a little bit, and this is all done. And here we go. Pull that little section right there off. Keep that beautiful little spiral going. And there we go. So we wanted to keep that little spiral right there intact. So I wanted to take it down, make it look as clean as possible when we separate it. That way when I finish rounding this out, we don't have this big blah. What's up from Brazil? How you doing? Okay, so all we're doing is coming through. We're going to round this out all the way. Yeah, no blah. It does. It looks like blah. That's the best way I could describe it if you don't get it tapered off the right way. Just kind of sits there and looks blah. You ever seen like an ink blot where it just kind of looks bad? It's like an ink blot. So I just call it blah. All right, we are looking good here. Yeah, the side view is looking really good. I'm noticing the side view looks pretty awesome on there, up in the upper corner. top right hand corner. The side view should be pretty revealing here. All right, we are definitely round now. Super smooth, beautiful combination. The colors are all blended. Bring it down a notch because we are at the finishing point here. Oop, one little spot right there. So there is one little tiny hiccup right there. We're going to smooth it out real quick. Won't take long. This is where it's easy. Little detailed flame. Run it right on the side. So what happens is as you use the smaller mold, the smaller round pockets here, what happens is as it's riding around the rim, wherever it's hot and high, where the high spots are and it's hot, it pushes it and fills in the gaps. So that's why you use a smaller mold every time, because it just forces the high spots to go into the low spots and smooth everything out. And that's it. I think we're done on this guy. Got a beautiful little spiral up there. Got the fire spiral. Let's see if I can implement the side camera temporarily and see if we can get a better view. So we're going to grab that and pull it down. There. Oh, there. So there's the side view. A little bit more there. Yeah, it's in its hot state, so it's not going to show all the colors right now. And there we go. Okay, we're almost done here. Almost done. We just have to taper this off. So give me a few seconds. We're going to grab the marble holder and we're going to break it off and you guys will see the final result. But yeah, it is starting to look very, very beautiful. We got the wood grain pattern, the green. Everything's looking fantastic. Then we got the marble holder from Dragonfly Creation. So Dragonfly Creation, who is one of the moderators on here, makes this guy. If you do not have one and you are a glassblower, you are missing out. It works good for ornaments, marbles, everything. Man, it barely fits in there too. So this is how you remove it from the stick. You actually just take it and tap. Then off it comes. Oop, left a little fingernail there. There we go. We're going to taper that down. Hit it with the flame. Bring it out here. Then I know I'm going to have to smooth this out. It left a little bit of a chunky butt right there. Grab this guy, smooth it out. Let it sit. So yeah, there it is. It looks actually pretty nice. I think we're all smoothed out. Yep, we're good. So it has all these blues and greens and browns. I'm going to hit it with the light real quick and then we got to get it in the kiln ASAP. So you can see all the wood grain effect in there. There we go. So it definitely has all those greens and wood grain and all that stuff in it. All right. So yeah, that one finished that. The Discord's dead. All right, I'll fix it. Thank you for letting me know. Yeah, I'll definitely fix the Discord link. Have to go through and change a few things anyway. But yeah, thank you. We're definitely going to be adding, we have Discord, and it's actually a good Discord. So let me fix that up. I'm going to take a short break for a minute, and I'm going to build another shield for on here so I'm not roasting, and then give me to 11:50, 12:30 my time. I'll be back. So 40 minutes gives me time to build a shield and get some stuff prepped up. So I will be back in 40 minutes to make marble number 2. And then we're rocking from there. See y'all in 30 to 40 minutes.